On November 12, 1946, my father and Uncle Carlos were on a ship called Itanagé, traveling from northern Brazil to Rio. Halfway down the coast, by the state of Bahia on the Atlantic side, a man falls into the water. My father said he was on the deck of the ship and he sees a man floating on the water. He said, wow, is that a beach nearby? He looks around, of course not, in the middle of the ocean. The high seas, the big tide, waves and stuff like that, and the wind blowing, late afternoon, and he sees this guy floating. Of course, like in a few moments, everybody else starts noticing that, and there's a man struggling to kind of stay up in the water. A captain finally sends a boat in with 5 sailors to rescue the man. Now, on the high seas, you just don't step on the brake and back it out. You got to go around. Before you know it, a little walnut shell, like a walnut shell, a little boat, is a couple of hundred yards away from the ship. Big commotion, of course, the guys in the water, that kind of thing, and the boat finally gets to the man. Every time they get a grip on the guy, the high tide lifts up the boat, and they lose grip. They can't pull the guy into the boat. And the man is obviously too weak with the struggle of staying afloat that he can't pull himself out. It's very clear that the guy is just barely keeping himself afloat. And on that situation going on, and everything is happening, you know, the scream and the drama and all that, my father turned to his brother after seeing several attempts of the sailors trying to rescue the man from the water into the boat. He turns to him and says, Carlos, thinking out loud, say, how come one of the guys in the boat does not jump into the water to help the man into the boat? Because that guy is too weak, he can't pull himself out. A sailor behind them said, this is abrolhos. That's all he said, which my father had no idea what abrolhos meant. Abrolhos is the highest concentration of sharks on the Atlantic Ocean. The Abrolhos Reef is known as to be a living ground for sharks. Not to mention that ships usually are magnet to sharks because they throw food overboard and the sharks are always falling for that. Anyways, that's what the guy said. This is Abrolhos. Didn't say anything else. So the advice went one ear out the other. A few moments later, they kept trying. They couldn't get the guy out of the water. Eventually, the captain sends the signals to the people on the boat, on the little boat, and signaling for them to return to the ship and leave the men behind. So now the guys on the boat, the sailors are rowing back to the ship, and the man is left behind in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. My father turned to his brother Carlos and said, hey, the guys are going to be left to die. How would you like to go save that man? Uncle Carlos said, I can't make it. My father said, oh, I think I can. So Uncle Carlos, go for it. My father then stripped down to his jocks and socks and jumps off the deck of the ship. He said when he was airborne, he thought, what if there are sharks? You can't rewind the button. So he went flat on his tummy, avoiding to go too deep because of the sharks. Flat on his tummy. Now he's swimming towards the boat. The guys are coming back to the ship, and from the water, he say, let's go back. They all turn around, and they go to where the man is. And once they get close, my father helps to get the guy out and save the guy's life. Yes. Now, I asked him, Dad, were you scared? He said, I was absolutely petrified. I was so scared that I was swimming as fast as I could so I can get close to the man so the sharks would have a 50-50 chance of biting me in case they showed up. Anyway, it was a blessed day. He didn't get bit, of course. So they bring the guy into the boat and return to the ship eventually. When they get back to the ship, the captain calls my father into his quarters. And my father goes in there and says, Captain, I'm so sorry. I said, Mr. Gracie, don't say anything. Don't apologize. If my mother, said the captain, my mother had come to visit me here, and in getting out of the boat to step into the ship, fell in the water, and her life would depend on me fishing her out of the water with my foot, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it for my mother. So I can't tell you how proud and happy I am that you're here to save a life. Congratulations. Eventually my father got a Medal of Honor for that, and a big party on the ship for him and everything else. It was a very exciting moment for the old man who won this battle even outside the mat.